I'm Yvanne Enever, CEO of PHARMExcel, a leading contract research organisation specialising in delivering rare disease clinical trials. I had the pleasure of attending the WORLD Symposium 2025 in San Diego. This event brings together a diverse range of global experts, including scientists, geneticists, clinicians, patient advocacy groups, and we were also represented throughout the organisation from some of the world leading pharmaceutical and biotechnology companies. So what stood out for me at the conference? I think the thing that stood out for me the most was that it was exceptionally well structured. They've clearly been doing this now for a number of years, and it was great to be able to see the panel sessions, which contained 4 really impactful sessions, and then that was followed by a sort of Q&A session that really involved the audience. So there was lots of rich discussion during those sessions. So that was brilliant to see. I think the other things and some of the key highlights that came across through the sessions that I certainly attended was being able to see some of the really promising clinical trial data that came out, certainly around Fabry disease. So we had Professor Derelyn Hughes from the Royal Free Hospital. She presented some of the clinical trial data for her study, the STAR trial, and that was evaluating ST920. We also heard about the FACT trial, which was evaluating safety and efficacy of autologous stem cell transplantation using an LV vector-mediated gene therapy. And it was hugely encouraging to be able to see that both of those trials offered really promising long-term treatment options for patients in this disease that have this disease. But also that equated with really good safety profiles for both of those clinical trials. So that was certainly a highlight from that perspective. I think the other themes that came out throughout the rest of the conference were things related to long-term disease management of these patients. So certainly looking at prompt disease management, looking at the right time to actually affect enzyme replacement therapy. So that was certainly a key theme that came out during those sessions. It also took time to look at treating the patient holistically. So looking at more frequent monitoring and surveillance of these patients, and also how we can go about improving infusion-related experiences with enzyme replacement therapy. So there was lots of discussion across those key areas. So that was certainly a standout for me. We also had the opportunity to explore some of the exhibitors. There were a huge amount of posters that were presented during that period of time. We got the opportunity to meet with some of the authors of those posters. So it was absolutely brilliant, to be able to see some of the cutting edge research that was being presented and some of the new innovations that were coming out that could potentially lead to advancements of treatment options in those areas. And I think it goes without question, having the opportunity to actually network and engage with many of our existing clients, some of our new partners, but also having the opportunity to catch up with, our patient advocacy groups as well. So that was a real highlight for me. I think in terms of messaging for our potential biotechs coming through this industry, it was certainly encouraging to see the FDA present during that during the seminar sessions. They highlighted many of the challenges that biotechs experience or startups experience in this area, particularly in rare diseases and gene therapy. So they talked about the challenges with manufacturing and scale up, about clinical development and the timelines, and they also talked about the regulatory challenges, particularly the differences in sort of global interpretation of clinical trials coming through. So I certainly was encouraged to hear the commitment that they're making in this area. looking at some of the new initiatives. So they talked about the rare disease hub that's been implemented, and that's certainly going to, I think, accelerate approvals, promote a much more coordinated approach to the reviews of clinical trials coming through, and certainly sets a platform, really, I think, for encouraging information and sharing of information across the regulatory authorities. So I think that that was definitely a way forward, and I would like to be able to see some of the other regulators following suit in that area. So I think my final message is really that the World Symposium certainly reaffirmed to me the importance of collaboration, and certainly uh, seeing the dedication of the clinicians and the scientists involved in trying to advance treatments in this area. So I think that that's going to be pivotal. We all play a really important part in a sort of ecosystem to bring new treatments to patients in this area. And so I think this was an absolutely perfect example of bringing all of those opportunities together. So I certainly look forward to continuing partnerships and contributing in that space to the future of rare diseases.